Hello, this is News Mongolian MNB World. I am Jugdur Gambold. And for our top stories. International Institute for the Study of Nomadic Civilizations holds its 6th General Assembly in Paris. Mongolia renews its commitment to fighting gender-based violence. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs inaugurates the honorary consulate in Toronto. For the news, stay tuned. The 6th General Assembly of the International Institute for the Study of Nomadic Civilizations took place at the Embassy of Mongolia in Paris, France. Held under the auspices of UNESCO, the event brought together esteemed scholars and researchers from Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkey, and other nations.
Assembly participants discussed plans for future initiatives and reflected on the Institute's activities over the past 2 years. The Assembly was a platform for presenting a comprehensive report on the Institute's accomplishments, highlighting key milestones and contributions to the understanding of nomadic civilizations globally. The presence of researchers from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkey emphasized the Institute's commitment to fostering international collaboration in the study of nomadic cultures. The exchange of ideas and experiences is expected to enrich the Institute's research endeavors.
We attended the session of the International Institute for Study of Nomadic Civilizations under UNESCO auspices in Paris, and we talked about future of the institution, which is very important to further develop research, complex research for the whole history and culture of the nomadic civilizations. And I'd like to thank our Mongolian colleagues for organizing such a good event. Hopefully, we'll continue our cooperation with our Mongolian researchers of the nomadic civilization from all the member states, including in the Kyrgyz Republic. And in upcoming, we have different scientific journals, both in English and in other different languages. They are very important, and we support these initiatives of our Mongolian colleagues.
This year, member countries appreciated that the Mongolian side organized the General Assembly in a traditional care. In 2025, the Institute will expand its cooperation with UNESCO. We're also planning to increase the number of members by adding associate member countries.
The Embassy of Mongolia in Paris provided a fitting backdrop for this gathering, symbolizing Mongolia's commitment to preserving and understanding the unique aspects of nomadic civilizations. The event highlighted the importance of international cooperation in advancing the study of nomadic cultures, bridging gaps, and fostering a deep appreciation for the rich history and heritage of nomadic communities worldwide.
The 16 days of activism against the gender-based violence campaign begins, marking a significant moment for Mongolia as it stands in solidarity with the global movement against the violence targeting women and girls.
With 26 years of participation in this international initiative, Mongolia is focused on raising awareness and addressing the alarming prevalence of gender-based violence. According to the National Gender-Based Violence Survey, 1 in every 2 Mongolian women has experienced violence at the hands of an intimate partner, and at least 1 in every 3 survivors believes a man is justified in hitting his partner under certain circumstances. Unfortunately, the number of cases of violence against women is not dropping. The international community has agreed that it's impossible to achieve equality in society or promote peace without eradicating gender-based violence. 90% of violence occurs behind closed doors, within family environments, underscoring the need to combat violence in private spaces. The campaign aims to challenge and dismantle the discriminatory gender norms and stereotypes contributing to such violence, advocating for a violence-free society.
In our complex societal landscape, a myriad of pressing issues, including alcoholism, poverty, and social stress, clamor for attention. While it's a common misconception that these social problems are the sole drivers of the violence against women and girls, this assumption is so wrong. Disturbingly, recent statistics reveal a disconcerting reality. 30% of women and girls residing in middle-income environments find themselves ensnared in the web of gender-based violence.
Mongolia's recommitment to this cause focuses on creating a safe and equitable environment for every woman and girl. The 16 days of activism serve as a poignant reminder of the collective responsibility to stand against gender-based violence, fostering a future where the rights of women and girls are respected and protected universally at home, in public, and in workplace.
As part of her official visit to Canada, Minister of Foreign Affairs Batsitsek Batmuk attended the opening ceremony of the Honorary Consulate of Mongolia in Toronto. The ceremony was attended by consul generals from other countries, honorary consuls, business representatives, and members of the Mongolian community in Toronto. The event was marked by vibrant cultural performances featuring the Merunghor, traditional Mongolian long song, Homithrow singing, and traditional praise songs.
Brian Wilford has served as the Honorary Consul of Mongolia in Toronto since July 2023, overseeing the consulate in the capital of Ontario. Mongolia has appointed honorary consuls in other Canadian provinces including Quebec, Alberta, and British Columbia. During her visit to Canada, Minister Batsitsek met with representatives of the Mongolian community in Ottawa and Montreal on November 20th. The minister exchanged opinions with community representatives, shedding light on the Mongolian government's policies and activities for Mongolians living abroad. Minister Batsitsek presented textbooks, guidebooks, and other educational materials to Mongolian schools in Canada. Approximately 2,300 Mongolian citizens reside in Canada, with a significant presence in major cities such as Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, and Vancouver. The official visit underscores the ministry's commitment to fostering stronger ties and support for the Mongolian community in Canada.
Please take a look at currency exchange rates provided by the Mongol Bank. Now here comes foreign news partnered with international news agencies. The top diplomats from South Korea, Japan, and China met Sunday to discuss when to resume their leaders' trilateral summit after a 4-year hiatus and how to strengthen cooperation among the three Northeast Asian neighbors.
Closely linked economically and culturally with one another, the three countries together account for about 25% of global gross domestic product. But efforts to boost trilateral cooperation have often hit a snag because of a mix of issues, including disputes stemming from Japan's wartime aggression and the strategic competition between China and the United States. Meeting at the southeastern South Korean city of Busan, the foreign ministers of the three countries were to exchange opinions on preparations to restart the trilateral summit, ways to improve three-way cooperation, and other regional and international issues, according to Seoul's foreign ministry. In September, senior officials of the three nations agreed to restart the trilateral summit at the earliest convenient time.
With today's meeting as the foundation, I hope to work together to hold the trilateral summit between South Korea, Japan, and China, which is at the apex of trilateral cooperation at the earliest day possible. This year is the beginning of another 3 decades of Chinese and South Korean relations. Also, this is the 45th anniversary of the peace treaty with Japan. As neighbors, China will work with South Korea and Japan to normalize the trilateral cooperation and seek healthy, stable, and lasting advancement of relations. The three countries will work together to achieve peace and stability in not only Northeast Asia, but the whole world.
Through today's meeting, I want to go back to the beginning and use this opportunity to restart cooperation between the three countries. Meeting with Minister Park and Minister Wang Yi, I want to discuss how the three countries can work together to hold the Japanese, Chinese, and South Korean trilateral summit and other global agendas. Since they held their first standalone trilateral summit in 2008, the leaders of the three countries had been supposed to meet annually, but their summit has faced on again, off again, suspensions and remains stalled since 2019. Their relationships are intertwined with a slew of complicated, touchy issues. South Korea and Japan are key U.S. military allies, hosting a total of 80,000 American troops on their territories. Their recent push to beef up a trilateral security cooperation with the United States has angered China, which is extremely sensitive to any moves it perceives as seeking to contain its rise to dominance in Asia. But some observers say that the fact that Chinese President Xi Jinping and President Joe Biden struck a conciliatory tone in their first face-to-face meeting in a year earlier this month would provide Seoul, Tokyo, and Beijing with diplomatic room to maneuver to find ways to revive three-way cooperation. Japanese officials said Sunday's foreign ministers' meeting would discuss North Korea's recent spy satellite launch and the Russian-Ukraine war, as well as resumption of the trilateral summit. The officials said that no joint statement was expected after the meeting. The three ministers held bilateral talks on the sidelines.
North Korea is holding nationwide elections Sunday for local authorities, an event that it is supposed to happen every 4 years. The socialist state is not famous for its electoral politics. The ruling Workers' Party has authority that is emphasized every day in public media and does not allow any challenge to its authority.
But North Korea still sticks to a show of elections, and dancing is a big part of the event. State media show people dancing outside polling stations in repeated sequences all over the country. These kind of organized public dances are common in North Korea or on any day that is a major event, anniversary, or public holiday. Unlike other countries, there is no public discussion presented of different candidates and their merits. There is no public canvassing of voters. Members of the public are shown filling into polling stations, taking paper cards before going in to vote. This time, foreign media reported that in some cases there may be more than one candidate to choose from, but that is not highlighted in North Korean media and the reality is not clear. Experts outside North Korea have pointed out that the election process is also an exercise where authorities can update records of residents. North Korea still remains closed to any routine international travel since the coronavirus pandemic. Many foreign embassies and UN agencies have yet to restaff in Pyongyang. The socialist state was the first country to close its borders against COVID-19 in 2022.
China's representative to the International Atomic Energy Agency restated China's strong opposition to Japan's plan to release nuclear-contaminated wastewater from the damaged Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the ocean. The Chinese envoy Li Song urged Japan to fully comply with rigorous international supervision.
Li criticized Japan for persistently advancing the wastewater discharge plan despite international doubts and opposition, emphasizing that this is not just Japan's private matter, but a global nuclear safety concern affecting the marine environment, public health, and international interests. Li urged Japan to halt the discharge. He highlighted the unprecedented nature of releasing contaminated water from a nuclear accident into the ocean, expressing concerns about the cumulative effects of the large-scale release of radionuclides. Lee cautioned against assuming the long-term effectiveness and reliability of Japan's purification equipment and the potential for mistakes in managing the 30-year discharge. China has consistently advocated for strengthened international supervision over Japan's plan and proposed continual improvements to international monitoring arrangements. Lee urged the International Atomic Energy Agency Secretariat to maintain an objective, impartial, and scientific stance, enhance communication with member states, and reinforce monitoring arrangements. Calling for contributions from International Atomic Energy Agency member states and the Board of Governors, Lee stressed the need for regular reviews of supervision arrangements and Japan's discharge plan. He urged Japan to adopt a more open, transparent, and cooperative approach, engaging in comprehensive consultations with relevant countries while addressing concerns. In conclusion, Lee urged Japan to continue responsible and constructive discussions with the International Atomic Energy Agency and member states, emphasizing the importance of strict international supervision. He expressed China's willingness to collaborate with relevant parties, supporting the International Atomic Energy Agency's leadership on the Fukushima issue, and actively participating in efforts to enhance independent, long-term, and effective international supervision arrangements to prevent harm to the marine environment and public health.
Please take a look at international current affairs.
8 trucks loaded with essential supplies like food, clean water, and medicine took advantage of a break in the fighting to enter northern Gaza on Sunday. This area had been without aid for weeks. At the same time, columns of Palestinians were seen moving south from the heavily damaged combat zone in Gaza City. People walked along Salah al-Din Street amidst rubble, some in wheelchairs and others carrying their belongings on their heads and in their arms. The temporary pause in fighting provided relief to Gaza's 2.3 million residents who are still dealing with the aftermath of intense Israeli bombardment that forced 3/4 of the population from their homes and destroyed residential areas. The ceasefire, facilitated by Qatar and the United States, marks the first extended break in the conflict since it began. As part of the agreement, Hamas is set to release at least 50 Israeli hostages, while Israel will release 150 Palestinian prisoners, all of whom are women and minors.
Please take a look at weather forecast for the world's major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying tuned. We'll see you next time with more news and updates. Have a good